Rodeo, New Mexico. Nestled between the Chiricahua Mountains to the west and the Peloncillo Mountains to the east, this area may seem desolate and hostile to life. But this ancestral home of the Chiricahua Apache features a unique mixture of Sonoran and Chihuahuan desert biodiversity. Though the permanent human population here is small, visitors flock here from around the world to experience the wildlife and take in the incredible landscape. At the heart of this small community is the Chiricahua Desert Museum and Geronimo Event Center. It's the perfect place to host scientific conferences and other gatherings. I'm here for Biology of Pitvipers 5, a huge gathering of pit viper biologists and other experts networking and presenting their research. Today, I'm at the beautiful new Library of Herpetology to have a conversation with a group of women at the top of their field.
You should have outtakes. Love you.
After the credits, yeah.
I'm Hayley Crowell, and I just recently defended my PhD at the University of Michigan. I am currently working in the Museum of Zoology there, and I am most interested in secret colors that we as humans can't see, so UV, ultraviolet, and near-infrared color. But I also love museums and museum research, and I'm always looking for creative ways to use museum specimens to study reptiles, especially snakes. So,
I'm Kristen Wiley. I run Kentucky Reptile Zoo. We specialize in providing venom for biomedical and biological research. I'm interested in snakebite mitigation and ethical production of venom.
Emily Taylor. I'm a biology professor at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and owner of Central Coast Snake Services, which does snake safety training. My research interests are in rattlesnake physiology, rattlesnake behavior, and human-wildlife conflict.
My name is Rachel Pikstein, and I worked as a professor and a conservation and biologist and ecologist consultant. I own Pikstein Laboratory for Conservation Research and Education, and I left 13 years of teaching to go back and be a PhD student in Dr. Bill Hayes' lab. And I currently work at everything from pit viper enrichment to invasive tegu lizards and the pet trades negligence, and do a lot with public outreach and education.
Hi, my name is María Elena Barragán. I come from Ecuador. I am an herpetologist working basically with vipers, and my interests around these snakes are reproductive biology, ecology, and actually I am leading a radiotelemetry project in South America with like a CISAC report.
All right, so we're here to talk about being a woman in herpetology. So I want to kind of see what your perspective is on where we came from, where we are now, and whoever wants to go, take it away.
I would be glad to begin, because I can provide some quantitative data on this.
Awesome.
At the Biology of Snakes conference, 8 years ago, 2017, I gathered the other 4 female speakers other than me, total out of 70, and took a photo with all of us, noticing how few female speakers there were. And we were pretty sure that even though herpetology, including snake biology, is a male-dominated field, that speaker diversity did not represent the diversity of snake scientists. And sure enough, super fast, in 2019, it all changed. We had a close to 50-50 ratio because the conference organizers here are so awesome that they decided to do a really good job of inviting people who are really representative of the field. And meanwhile, it was really great because it spurred me to do a research project to quantify women in herpetology. And we found that, to make a long story short, women studying snakes went from about 7% of papers, authors, in 1970s to about 35% in 2020, and it really grew a lot in the past 5 years. And so there's just a dramatic increase now to where it's getting close to parity in terms of women being involved as authors to the same extent as men.
I mean, I don't know if I'm older than you or you're older than me, but
You must be close.
probably are close.
You're both 30, right?
Right.
But it's a month off at least. I mean, it's like April versus May.
But I definitely remember going to meetings at the very beginning of my career, and there would not be a lot of women even there. And I'm, I guess, socially inept enough that I didn't know I should care about that, but you do notice it a little bit. But I do agree. I think now, I feel like it's just grown since I've been around and been to meetings, or even we have an internship program. We probably are at the point where we get more female interns than male. So yeah, I think the interest level has probably always been there. It's just whether people felt like they were able to get access into the field. And I think now it is better. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a huge improvement over when we started.
Do you think it's because women didn't see a lot of representation from their role models? Like, I know Hayley talked about how she watched, Steve Irwin growing up, but there wasn't really a female version of Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I do feel like the one challenge with reaching the general public or children in general is trying to figure out, I think the people who watch Steve Irwin are, I was an adult when Steve Irwin was around, so I was less impressed with him. But but I remember watching Nature with George Page on PBS every Sunday night for basically my entire childhood, and there were not any women on that show either. But I guess I had some very supportive environment as a kid, so I think for me I was like, okay, well, whatever. There's not a lot of women, but I don't care. Didn't seem like there were that many people interested in general, so right.
I'm also curious about what it's like being a woman in herpetology in Ecuador.
Oh my God. It's tough. That is why we need to have a strong temper. That is my case. That is not seen as very nice in a woman, but I don't care. However, as Emily and Kristen says, it's start changing. I mean, I can see more young women in herpetology, maybe because they are looking at not only us, but many different women already making important things in society. However, you need to consider that the role that the society is asking from women is that we can do things at the professional level, at home, and this is a big mistake because when we as a woman and professional, we need, for example, to take care of babies, automatically our professional responsibilities need to be put in a hold until I finish my responsibility as a mom. And that means that we go out from the professional area, and that is taken from colleagues that don't like us and probably bosses that don't like us, took the opportunity to put us away. And that means that we come back and we lose valuable years if we were in the professional career. So it's tough. It's tough that you can fail at the family level, can fail at the professional level just because the society is demanding too much from us. So that is still tough. And given and coming from a Latin country, the opportunities for women in the area of science are not the same either, are not the similar salaries. Every time someone look at you going to the field and they she's going to be the one that is going to cook the food for the researchers' males. So it's still like that. However, I think that spaces like this one, and as Emily says, when the organizers invite a same amount of speakers, men speakers and female speakers, so then there is the chance where you can show that women, we can do as well this and get these challenges.
Absolutely. And I would like to add that I think it's really interesting, the flip side, that I choose to be a childless woman. I've taught for 13 years. I love kids. I've taught thousands, and it's wonderful. But the constant explanation of your career that you are not going to do that, and having to justify that, and then a lot of connotations that come with it, that you're more cold or not evolved and things like that. So I think that's kind of a battle. Although for me I'm not Hispanic, my family's from Latvia and Russia, but I'm Jewish, and so there's a very similar expectation of big family and lots of kids. And my parents always have to accept you have snakes instead of children. Like that meme, it's like, this is all I can give you, a few snakes, not kids. And they're wonderful now, but I think that that's also a journey for women, and that it's about our career trajectory and our path. And for my family as well, if you're not a lawyer or a medical doctor, it's tough to explain why you travel to countries on your own budget and why you're volunteering for scientists, and why are you working towards this peer review and this free publication? Like, how is this going to earn you money? You know, so that's a journey. But I think when you do compare that to like men in my family or friends who are men, like when they go on a 3-year trip to Chile or whatever, people don't question them as often. So I think that your entire career trajectory is questioned. And then you got on top of that you study reptiles. I think it puts you in a unique category in a lot of ways. And, I think it influences your career trajectory as well as friendship circles and other things. But as we grow older and times change, there's other things at play there. I think it allows us to bridge into other social circles, and to not just be the weird person, but be the person who's like, I'm an educator and a representative for an animal and a species and an entire group. And I think people are open to that message now than they were 10 or 20 years ago, and it might have nothing to do with women, but in general, times have shifted in ways like that.
I have a question for everyone else.
Yeah.
Do you think that, speaking of public outreach or education, do you think that in some ways women / minorities are better at representing animals that are less well understood, like snakes?
The underdog represents
bugs, because we have some experience with people, being derogatory or whatever. Like, are we better representatives in some ways? I have no idea. I don't know if that's true or not. I'd be interested in what you think.
I think we, as a women, have many skills, abilities, and advantages, and one of those is that we can manage egos in a better way than men do. So if you approach a community, doesn't matter if it's a rural or urban community, automatically a male researcher is like imposing, and the community is reacting because of that, and you are not going to have good results. However, in my experience, what happened is that you, as a researcher dealing with education, need to be in the second side of the screen. The main factor is the community. So in that game, your ego, how much you know about it, is secondary. It's not a priority. You need to first get the trust from the community, and as soon as you win in that way, then you can go and treat the scientific aspects.
Right.
So I think this is one of the advantages in women.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
I think I think when people like would see Irwin and the Terrier would see her, and I think when the general public, they're used to seeing someone like Steve jumping around and being crazy on there with these animals and being really masculine, where when they see a woman out there educating people and holding these snakes, then they can actually connect with it more than that. You don't have to be insane and crazy and to really appreciate these animals. Here's this woman here dealing with these animals. They don't have to act like it's dangerous, it's going to kill you and all that kind of stuff. And I think you're more apt to be educated by a woman doing it than a man, because the man is just like, you're almost expecting to be a little bit crazy, show off.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they don't have to. It's like, just because you're, catching a snapping turtle doesn't mean you have to be, look how dangerous it is,
It reminds me of this wonderful documentary BBC did on the Ankahinga, which is a group in Zimbabwe. They're the only fully armed anti-poaching unit that is all women. And in this wonderful documentary, they talk about how the women are the keys to conservation, because men in the village will be corrupted and will not want to turn in poachers and poison elephants that are their neighbor or their friend, their cousin. They say they need to go outside to like 5 villages away or to even another country sometime to bring in people. And they said women are not corrupted in that way and hold the key to conservation. So I guess, what is it in that role that women are providing that offers that? That's an interesting take. But yeah. I liked that quote.
Yeah.
I have a lot. I think this is a really good question. I'm really glad you asked it. I'm trying to like reflect on all the levels and all the chapters of like life as we go through this and how it's changed. You know, like it kind of started to be. I'm like, all right, thinking about Steve Irwin. Like here's Terry in the background who always was kind of one like, I have the koala bear. We found this here. Or when you watched movies and there was one female scientist and it was always like the young, sexy one who was like also the caring one. Like I think of like Dr. Sadler in Jurassic Park, who was a super badass, but also like the only representation of like a scientist in any way. She's like the plant botanist.
She gets the poo moment. That's really all they give her. I mean,
and then I think we entered this phase where there's people like us, like other women going into reptileology or like big charismatic megafauna biology, and there's a point where okay, there's not enough of us to be like a group or find your friends. So in turn, you either have to like be one of the guys or be like really intense, which in turn then you're just viewed as a B word. But now I think the great part about it in going into outreach is that there's enough women around that it's actually, you can form friends and form groups and there's camaraderie. And I think and that gives it more power. Like you're not just like the one woman with all the snake bros like trying to either make the same kind of presence or be respected, but also want to stand up and be like, I want to be here because I'm like a girl doing this. And I'm not like a girl who's just like also a dude, but like now there's enough camaraderie and diversity within women in the field that I think makes all this way more a lot easier. Because
that's big.
Yeah, you're not just representing the woman as all women. Like you're not just the one unit. Like now there's actual different strengths to rely on when you're doing even outreach like that, and like other little girls can also see like here's what all these women look like. And I think in that sense we're doing really really good just by being in numbers alone is wildly different than.
Do you feel that happened for you guys really like in 2019? Did it happen earlier? We talked about that transition happening. Like, what was the timing? Because for me, I moved to the West Coast in 2016, and my first time to the Chiricahua Mountains was that conference and meeting you guys. And I don't know, and everything for me changed for that, but it was because I immersed myself in a new group of people that continued to bridge out. And I don't know if I go to the East Coast if I'll find that same. I spent all the time in Florida, and I have my women herpers, but it wasn't the tribe that I see in the West Coast. Is it a West Coast thing? Is it rattlesnakes?
I don't think so. As an
Is
East
it venomous?
Coaster, I don't think so, but
Is it venomous? I don't know. Yeah.
It certainly didn't used to be.
yeah.
I mean, I started out as a girl with the snake bros.
Yeah.
It was just me and the guy.
Hockey bro, snake bro,
Had to be.
Yeah.
booty tattoo bro, gun bro.
Yeah.
I feel seen.
Yeah, no, I don't want like, I would
I know.
say here's like Neil, to some degree, was started in that, like, having to, whether, like, some people do it better than others, like, I didn't have the personality, but, like, you're kind of fake, but you gotta, or you won't be there, and, but it's nice now to not have to, like,
Fake it
put
till you
that,
make it.
it could be, like, all of me out, and don't have to put on just, like, the, like, I can hang here too attitude. It's like, I'm here, and this is just, like, me as it is, with other people as there, and it's, like, really awesome, and, I don't know, I feel
It really is.
I will say, I know some people have places to go, so we'll try to start wrapping it up. But from my experience, I think that herpetology, the whole field is, again, this is from my experience as a man, but I think it's way more supportive and inclusive than other people that I've seen in other fields. I've been to other conferences in different fields, and I've noticed a different culture.
That is interesting.
I don't ever go to any other.
Their conferences are very.
I won't say on the recording one of them.
Yeah, we won't do that. Other fields and closely related fields.
That's
But
interesting.
has that been the experience as a woman? And like, especially I think the Biology of Pitvipers, other Biology of conferences, because of Bob and the other people putting it on, or.
I mean, there is some specialness about this place and what they've built here, I think, for sure. But from my perspective and being more around like the venom people, I think on a more regular basis, I feel like they were, like that side of things, they were always very welcoming. I can remember watching talks from, elder statesmen at early meetings, and they were so open and caring and very obviously so towards everyone involved that it was hard not to feel included. Like you would have had to try to think. So that's and this is, I consider this part, or that community part of this one, or this one part of that one, or whatever. And there's a lot of overlap. I think for me, the change has been much more gradual than that, though. And I think my own microcosm of people that I know and looked up to as mentors were always the more welcoming types anyway, you know? And so, yeah, I don't know.
The MeToo movement did change things, though, dramatically. Like,
For good, for bad.
well, I think for good, from my perspective as a woman. But, you know, I've been going to these conferences. Obviously not these. I've been going to these since, 2017 or something. But, like, herpetology conferences since way before then, since way before the MeToo movement. And there were some bad actors. There's some famous male herpetologists who made life hell for women. It's not like they were just tolerated back then. There were women herpetologists who took them to task. But still, they were allowed to do their thing, and then all of a sudden they weren't, and it was a rapid change.
Yeah.
People do not take that kind of crap anymore at all. There's a code of conduct at the big herpetology meetings. People are watching, people are supporting.
Remember the big offense? Who was the guy who put up the pictures? This is my first conference I ever went to was the conservation conference in Florida, and they were talking about that had happened the month before. The guy who had the very less dressed grad students and things on pictures.
Dick Vogt. And he'd been doing it for 40 years.
So I was just getting into your guys' field at that point, my first conference, when I heard about that, and I was like, how could that possibly happen?
He'd been doing it for 40 years, and then Me Too got him.
Good. Excellent. So it was a great thing for women in herpetology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm very thankful that I never had to experience the bad and that you guys cleared the way that I walked in.
I didn't do it.
Or,
I wasn't at that meeting.
You guys didn't experience any of the touches of that, no? From that past life?
I remember him being creepy, but he
stayed to his...
By the time I got into science, I was like a lot younger than him, so I was like, whatever, old man, you know? But he really made life hell for a lot of women who are like a little older than me, who are more of his... Yeah, there's people like him. He's very symbolic now, and I have no problem using his name and publicizing it.
Thank you.
No, he's a terrorist.
Very easy to find out. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's other people who are kind of like him too, and you know, and that their behavior is not. They've stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Like it changed like overnight. It was great.
Awesome. It's awesome. I've never heard that song. It's awesome.
As a wrap-up question, what would you say to young women and girls who aren't sure if they can fit into this community and make it as a herpetologist?
I would say be a badass. Don't stop yourself. If you have a very a bad encounter with a male colleague or whatever that makes your life hell, just leave it and try. So if you really like what you like to do, just keep going.
If that happens, tell one of us, and we'll kick his ass.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
Absolutely. And I advocate too that only mean girls like mean girls. I've always been someone that I had mostly male friends that didn't relate to women, and relating to women as an adult happens through herpetology, and there is people for you, and so work hard, be honest, and be stubborn as shit. If people are not nice or resistant to you, they suck. Like, a professor should want you to be excited about their work. They should be honored by it. They should welcome it. If they can't take you, they can't take you, but you should feel welcomed within a tribe or a community within academia. And if you're not, then find another person. Don't waste your time with them, because there's a lot of good people out there.
Yeah.
Sorry? No?
We'll kick his ass. That was my
His ass. His or her ass, yes. To the streets here.
It's like, come
His
on
or her
down.
ass.
Answer more questions. Come hang out. I feel like herpetology kind of attracts people who exist on like the fringe of this kind of normal social expectation anyway, just by the animals we study being so like misunderstood. So like, no matter how weird you are, or awkward you think you are, or how strange, like this is the place for you. Like, come hang out. Like, yeah, we will out weird you in every way. You belong here.
And also, I don't know if we, in a very deliberately do, but no intention, but automatically more women are like having or following our own path, like they are having already role models, but because they are there now, they follow, you know, and that is why we can see probably more women.
It's open to game. It's exponential.
Yeah, so in the past it was just one woman, but women was like looking white women and a huge amount of men. So right now younger researchers can see, oh, so maybe it's a nice area to think about a profession. So that is why we are also having that responsibility.
Oh yeah. So one last thing, I think we should thank Bob, Sherry, and everybody who puts on this amazing conference.
Absolutely. Turn around. Where's his face? Hey!
You can Chuck, Michelle, and everyone else that helps out, our whole staff. And
All of
we
them.
want to try to keep out the conductor, and got this huge orchestra of talented people that help make it all happen. So I couldn't do it without all of them. So, but
We love you.
I
Thank
love
you.
doing it. See all my friends. If you
Absolutely.
guys come into town and big full population rodeo triple. That's great.
Absolutely. And don't forget that you gotta end on this. You gotta, mine. There's your ending note. Alright, sorry. Herp chat. Woo!
Go.
We love you, Jeff. Yeah.